Costing with Solutions 8, and today I want to go over the absolute must-haves for a website if you're going to run successful Google Ads traffic. We put such a massive emphasis on what happens in the Google dashboard, obviously, but one of the prerequisites that people don't often think about is the fact that whatever it is you're driving traffic to needs to be functional. You know, people when they get there they need to be excited, and you need to capture them and convert them. So I'm going to go over what I think the best practices are, and then I'm going to show you some examples that I have teed up just to kind of help drive some of the points home. So first, let me pull up my ugly presentation. Some just general recommendations for the overarching site. First, and before I get into the bullet points, I just want to say I don't believe in squeeze pages anymore. And I'm allowed to say that I wrote the beginner's guide to PPC landing pages for Search Engine Journal. This was in 2014. So I've been using squeeze pages longer than you've been alive, probably. Just kidding. But for some time. And you can see here that we played all the squeeze page games, and it worked, and it worked for a really long time. The issue, though, is the temperament of the way that people search changes, and people kind of started figuring out the squeeze page game. And so what we're seeing now is there's a longer conversion path. Statistically, it takes 2.5 clicks before somebody's ready to convert. So that means that especially for higher end services offerings, bigger dollar amounts, if you're not selling something that's just an impulse buy, they're not going to go to the squeeze page and buy right out of the gate. They need to click around, and they want to look at multiple things. What we're seeing in our campaigns is users are looking at 4 or 5, sometimes 6 pages before they're converting. Your about page tends to be your second most trafficked page. They want to look at service-specific pages. They'll look at case study pages, testimonial pages. So squeeze pages do exactly that. They squeeze a user into doing something, and it works to your disadvantage, especially if you're bidding on high-end traffic. Now, if you're going after Facebook traffic, totally different story. Even YouTube, in some instances, can really use a squeeze page. But for Google Ads campaigns, especially if you have a high-end offering, caution against the squeeze page. So now let's assume for a minute that you agree with that, and now we're working on your website. These are the general recommendations for the overarching website, not just the page that they land on, which I'll get to in just a second. First, you have to have consistent navigation. And I'm going to go pick on my buddy Stu McLaren here. Now, I love Stu. I pay for his education. I'm a part of his membership thingy. But he does this, and he's not driving paid traffic to this site that I know of. So it's not that he's breaking any rules, but I just want to show you what he does that bugs me. And you'll see this happen a lot. So let's say that I'm like, oh, okay, Stu's got a podcast. That's great. Let's look at the podcast. All right, opens in a whole new site and a whole new thing, and we just broke continuity, and there's no consistency between where I was and what I was looking at. And all right, well then let's look at the membership thing. And then that does the same thing. It launches me off into this new section. I'm like, okay, well then let's look at the workshop. And then that does something else, and it launches me off into this new thing. And again, no continuity is being maintained, and I've got a whole other thing. And now I realize that Stu's just got multiple brands, a lot going on, and this isn't the site that he's really actively marketing. I'm just using this as an example because it's one that I remembered was kind of like this. And I wanted to give you a sense as to what I caution you against. So some sites do that without having the excuse that Stu has. So you want to have consistent navigation. People need to learn how to traverse your site. They need to kind of start to understand the way that you have it structured. And the easier it is for them to understand it, the more they're going to click about. Clear calls to action. You have to let them know what you want them to do. And you have to be really clear about it. I say this I'll say this a lot, but don't get cute. Don't get creative. Don't, confuse anybody. Just let them know. If you want them to buy now, then say buy now. Sign up for my free trial. Request a consultation. Get your action plan, whatever. But make it as clear as you can possibly make it. And then make your calls to action thematically consistent. You want to have recurring themes in your calls to action and your conversion points, because people start to kind of get a sense as to what it is that you're asking them to do and how it is you're asking them to do that. I think the folks that do this the absolute best, HubSpot. I'm a HubSpot user, actually HubSpot partners. So I'm pimping out HubSpot here, but you always kind of know where HubSpot's calls to actions are and how they're thematically situated. And they do a really good job too, just isolating things that are relevant to the calls to actions. HubSpot's check marks show up throughout the entire browsing experience, and they're very eye-catching, and they're letting you know, hey, we've got good stuff here for you. This is really relevant for your eye, and then here's where our call to action is. And they're consistently offering you calls to actions throughout the entire site. And they're not all just this orange button. They also do, where is it? Let's go take a look at a blog. So I'm going to open up 3 HubSpot blogs just at random, okay? Let me, hold on, back up. So they do this really cool thing in the footer of all their blogs. they have a consistent type of call to action. I opened 4. But what I like about it is it changes. So here's the Hubspot CTA. Here's another Hubspot CTA. This is a really consistent way that they offer some of their value. And when you're an organization like HubSpot and you offer as much value as they do, people start to kind of seek out your calls to actions. So here's another HubSpot CTA. And look at the difference between this and this. And yet, this is a theme that they follow, and this is a theme that they follow. So they can switch it up. They can use the isolation effect. They can capture your eye, but still maintain some level of thematic continuity. Here's another one. That one's a little bit more consistent with that one. You know, the colors are like this, but the format is like that. We'll take a look at one more. That was a good CTA, actually, that I just closed. And here's another one. So you can see that they're thematically consistent, but they're still switching it up. So it's not that you can't be creative. It's just that you want to let people know, hey, I'm about to give you something. And if you can train users how to manage your site the way that HubSpot has, I think it'll put you in a really good spot. Here's a company that did that poorly. Now, I like Entreport. I've used Entreport in the past. But they've got start your free trial. That's fine. But then I've got get a demo. And I need to prioritize one over the other. And it's not that I'm against multifaceted calls to action. It's just I now don't know. I'm like, all right, get a demos with a person, free trials I do by myself. And I'm thinking about which of those is preferable. So I don't know that I present both of those things right here. I think what I might do is transition to a demo if the free trial is not working. So that might be later down the page for me. That's number one. Number two is they've got this chat link here, which I actually really like. But I wish it was just a little bit more proactive. If you spend some time on the Hubspot site, they never actually launched their chat, which I think is flawed. And then they've got the transitional call to action. So I have 2 direct calls to action: get a demo, start a free trial, see Hubspot in action. And now I'm like, all right, is that the demo or is that the video? And you'll find out it's the video. And then they do this interesting thing where every feature has its own launch, and again, they're not necessarily driving paid traffic to this page that I know of, but as a paid traffic recipient, this page would suffer a little bit because it's just so diluted in terms of, you know, the direction they're asking you to go. Like, we just keep seeing new ideas, and each of them is kind of structured a little bit differently, and they're not really training us on how they would navigate the site. Here's another poor performer. Actually, kind of like, I'm going to open this in incognito, by the way, just so it doesn't pixel me. But so here's Keep. And Keep, you'll notice, like, I'm on the page for a fraction of a second, and I've got a pop-up here, a pop-up here, a pop-up here. And then, well, I don't know if that was exit intent or not, but there's another pop-up. And then they don't maintain continuity, not only through their site, but with their brand. Like, this is kind of this weird cartoony octopus-looking thing. And all right, if you stuck with that, that'd be fine. And maybe that's drawn on there for that guy. But then you move into this sort of, you know, sleek SaaS. Like, this is very Salesforce, or even GoDaddy's new brand looks kind of like that. And they've lost the cartoony thing entirely. You don't see it again reflected anywhere else on this site. And we've got these drag and drop animations, but they're also not telling me what to do. You know, learn more is such a poor call to action. Nobody wants to learn more. They want to, you know, get involved, save money, increase whatever, conversions. This actually is kind of compelling right here. This is $0 a month. But instead of view complete pricing, I would just say sign up. Like, why are you getting in the way of me saying, oh, yes, that appeals to me. Let me go talk myself out of it before I actually convert. And again, total break in continuity. Like, this is way different than anything you've seen up until this point. This is irrelevant. I feel like, I don't know. I'm not a fan of anything that they've done here. And again, I've got like all of these distracting little nits that I have to deal with. And then if I go to leave, sometimes they trigger exit intent. They didn't this time. But I don't know. I just don't like the way that they did it. I think the continuity needs to be maintained a little bit better. You want multifaceted conversion points. So you want people to be able to convert the way that they want to convert. And one company that does that, I think, really well, I've actually done business with these folks. It's how I know of their website. Good guys. They do appointment setting. But you'll notice a couple of things. You can call, which is a novel idea and something that I know we don't always want to incentivize, but I make it available if it's something that you do lead intake with. So I can call, I can email, I can get a quick quote, I can contact, I can request a quote. Instantly, there's a ton of opportunities for me to convert in my way. I can leave a message. This is live chat in some instances if they're manning it. And I happen to know that if they're manning it, this will proactively pop up. So if I want to chat, I can chat. If I want to fill out the form, I can go to Contact Us. If I want to email them directly, I can email them. And what this is going to do is it's going to hit your right brain users and your left brain users. You're going to let people engage with you the way that they want to engage. They've got closed forms and open forms. I'm not a huge fan of the site, the branding and the structure, but I just wanted to show you kind of that multifaceted engagement opportunity. It doesn't dilute the way that Entreports or Infusionsoft does, because there's still the primary CTA is very clear here. Request a quote, get a quick quote. The secondary CTA is pretty clear here. And then if you just want to just contact them, if you're not interested in what it is that they're offering, then they give you that opportunity too. I'd also recommend having no dead ends. It's no fun, and that I kind of showed you that on Stu's site, but sometimes you'll be navigating a site and you're in the primary navigation, and then you go to the secondary navigation, and then you go to the tertiary navigation, and at a certain point you don't know how to get back to where you were, and that's really frustrating. It's actually there's a psychological imbalance that happens there, because people are mentally tracking their entire user session from the original search. So for them, the main menu is actually Google. And then they clicked on your ad, and then from your ad they clicked on a menu item, and then from the menu item they clicked on a sub-menu item. And if you ever wipe the breadcrumbs, if you don't let them see where they were, then sometimes the user's inclination is, all right, just back out and let's go back to the search where I know I'm safe. So don't have any dead ends. You have to have really robust content on your product and services, and you have to have a dedicated page per product and service. And this is really important for paid advertising, because you want to know what people are interested in. And going back to HubSpot does this so well. If you know what people are interested in, so if I go to the Sales Hub page versus the Service Hub page versus the CMS Hub page, here's what's funny is I'm logged into my HubSpot account. I know for a fact I'm about to get an email from one of my reps saying, hey, are you interested in whatever? Because they can now track, oh, this person was interested in our Sales Hub. So my remarketing campaign is going to be based off Sales Hub. When I pixel use a user, I'm going to put you on the Sales Hub list. So the lead intelligence here is just better now that I have one page per product or service, and the content here is so robust. It just lets me know everything about the Sales Hub. I really like sections like this that allow you to deliver a lot of content, but in kind of a contained atmosphere. I'd like maybe a little bit more in the way of calls to action. I hate learn more. Get started is fine. Get started there is fine. I really like these checkboxes they have. I love that they list their pricing. I don't like talk to sales. Anytime you use that word, I think that you're repelling people. I think you could just say get started here, and it could still be a talk to sales. I like the live chat CTA. So this is a good, for the most part, I'd drive paid traffic to this for sure. There'd be no reason not to. And each of these pages is really similar in construct. So HubSpot does a good job at that. Make sure to use social proof everywhere. And I'll show you a company that does this well. And I only know about them because I'm a customer and they use me as a testimonial. So I ended up on the site. And this is Octa Chat. They do live chat. They actually man the live chat on my site. If you're interested, check them out. Great people. I'm not an affiliate. You'll notice multifaceted conversion points. So you can, click here. It goes to a forum. You can call if you want to. You can live chat. Like, that's great. Their conversion is consistent throughout, by the way. I really like this. Start a 14-day free trial. You know the entire time what it is that they want you to do. But here's what's cool is here's social proof. All the logos of companies that they've worked with. There's my logo. That's my company. Here's social proof. So there's a happy customer. Where did it go? Here's social proof. And then a ton of social proof. So here's an organization that's done a really good job at seeding social proof throughout the entire experience. And if you're actually reading this content, they have even more than that. So I think they've done a really good job at, just letting them know, like, hey, we have a lot of really happy people. So make sure to use social proof as often as possible. Maintain brand continuity. We talked about that a little bit with Infusionsoft, and how anytime you break, even breaking away from colors or, using new themes, there's nothing wrong with it if you're doing it intentionally and you know what you're doing, but people need to know that they're on the same site. And then make your contact information accessible. There's nothing worse than somebody that actually wants to contact you, and for whatever reason, you've decided to make it hard for them. So best practices for general recommendations. Let's look at the technical recommendations here. You have to have an adequate site speed, and your site speed needs to be adequate according to Google. Now, your website developer is going to tell you that the Google site speed test, which let's just pull that up real quick, Google site speed. Bam. You can enter any web page URL here. Let's go pick on Keep. and it's going to tell you keep site speed. Now, here's the problem: is Google's giving you the site speed after the entire site loads, and most sites have what's called latent loading, which means they give you all the thing that you need on the front end first, so that you as the user don't realize that there's more loading going on, and then they deliver the rest of the site afterwards. Well, Google is giving you the site and not evaluating the site until the entire thing is loaded, and your developer is going to push back on you if you say, "Hey, look, keeps it at 9." Oh, that's pathetic, guys. Come on. I'm so sorry. I've actually got friends that work there. We used to be partners, but it just can't fly. That's really rough. I almost wish I didn't pull this up. I'm embarrassed now for them. And so that's mobile. 38 on desktop's a little bit better. But you would drop this on your dev and say, hey, we need to remove unused Java, eliminate render blocking resources. I don't even know what all of this means, to be frank. I'm not a developer. When you hand this to the developer, they're going to say, look, Google's site speed is wrong. If you go use other site speed tools, it will show you how the site performs for a user. The problem with that is Google's quality score and all of Google's evaluation of your website is based off of their own tools. So you have to make sure that you have at least adequate site speed for Google. Now, my site speed isn't great. It's not phenomenal. It's a WordPress application. WordPress is hard to speed up past anything, but as long as you get it to where it's not a catastrophic error, then you're going to be in good shape. Some of the stuff I shouldn't have to say, you should already know. Your site has to be mobile responsive. If it's not, don't run traffic. Statistically, 60% of your traffic is going to be mobile, especially your acquisition traffic. When people are just searching initially, a lot of that comes in through mobile devices. So make sure you have a responsive site. You have to use an SSL certificate. I realize that that's not, you might think like, oh, I'm not collecting payment information, or I don't have forms on my site, or whatever. Your website is going to show errors in different browsers if you don't have an SSL certificate. It's not going to resolve as well. It's now a ranking signal for SEO. So just install an SSL. They're easy. It's $70 a year or something in 20 minutes. And that's the hard way if you actually have to configure it yourself. You have to have a privacy policy on your site to run paid ads. There's a ton of privacy policy templates online. You can just download one, modify it for yourself, throw it in your footer. If you have an e-commerce site, you have to have shipping and return policies. And then make sure that your tags are installed. And we beat up on this for a billion other videos, but GTM analytics, Facebook pixel, etc. Whatever it is that you need, have all that on your site so that you're actually ready to receive. And then here are my landing page recommendations. So this is actually like the meat. You have to have a clear value proposition. Don't be cute. I'm going to use my website as an example because I feel like we do this really well. Google Ads clarity. I'm telling you exactly what we do. Get immediate clarity with a free action plan built by the industry's best Google Ads management team, no cost or obligation. Now, you'll notice something here. I am not selling you Google Ads services. I'm just selling you the action plan because I'm not trying to skip steps. Here's another company that I think does this really well. This is Simplero. I use Simplero. I'm a big fan of their software. But you can see consistent CTAs, and they're really clear on what it is that they want you to do. Start your free trial. Start your free trial. Start your free trial. Start your free trial. I think they do. Here's Transitional. A little bit. Read more. Start your free trial. They've done a phenomenal job at maintaining consistency and continuity with their value proposition, and they're really clear on what it is that they're offering. Your entire online coaching business in one place. That you know exactly who they're for and what they do. So really well done. You need to be consistent with your calls to action. Like I just went through with Simplero, it was all start your free trial. You can have transitional calls to action maybe, but they should be secondary. So don't use a transitional call to action unless you feel like you're losing a bunch of traffic. And then if you do, bring those in later. So on my site, you'll notice that we actually deliver a lead magnet, but it doesn't pop up unless I forget what the rules are, but it's been to a couple of pages, it's been on the site long enough. And then here, if you get down to the bottom, we start offering our book here, but I mean, you're basically at the end. So I wrote a book, my partner wrote a book, check out our blog. Here's our YouTube channel. So what's happened here is I'm like, all right, I've offered you the action plan 15,000 times. You haven't taken me up on it. I don't want to lose you. So, if you've gotten all the way down here and you haven't asked me for an action plan, then all right, you want a book? And if you don't want the book, then, we wrote a really amazing blog. This is actually nationally ranked. Or check out our YouTube channel, and this refreshes dynamically. And then I offer my best call to action here at the bottom. I might turn this off at some point because we're sort of getting overwhelmed, but I actually offer to meet with people directly. You skip my business development manager and you go straight to the founder, which, you'll notice that's right above the footer. And that's my last ditch effort. If I'm going to lose traffic, I'm like, all right, what if I get on the phone with you? So maintaining consistent CTAs and then only have transitional CTAs later when you don't feel like you're going to lose traffic, because otherwise you distract from your primary CTA. Massive emphasis on social proof. Let me go pick on myself again. Social proof. And not just a social proof, but you also want to build authority. So social proof and authority building, you notice that we've got all these testimonials and you can page through all of them. And some of these are people that you should know if you're in the digital marketing space. And then we've got, here's authority building. PPC is all we do. We're Google partners, Forbes agency members, digital marketing certified partners, expertise.com agency. I have more social proof. Case studies, that's social proof for sure. Digital marketer certified partner, social proof. We've been seen on all these networks, that's social proof. Here's more testimonials, more social proof. We do not stop playing the social proof game. This is writing a book. We were number one, and this is a real ranking. That's social proof. So here's more social proof and authority building. You want to do as much social proof and authority building as you possibly can. Social proof is a hard thing to say over and over and over again. It starts not to feel like a real word or collection of words. I've broken it. Explain the process. Let them know how to buy. I think Octa Chat did this pretty well. This comes from, what's his name? Don Miller, StoryBrand. But the step 1, step 2, step 3. This is too much. That's not step 1, step 2, step 3. Where were their steps? I know they had them. There we go. Sign up, add code, go live. Bam, easy breezy. And I'm not telling you that I love this site. I'm just saying that I really like step 1, step 2, step 3. Ours isn't as good. We've got our 1, 2, and 3. This could be cleaned up, but let people know how they're going to walk through the buying process. Talked about building authority. Overcome objections on your landing page. So here's something that I did that I'm really proud of, and people bring up on sales calls all the time. I let people know we might not be the right fit. And here's why. Here's a whole page on why you and I might not be good fits for each other. And it's extensive and it's honest. So you can put objections in front of people and then also work to overcome those objections. The other thing that I do is I list my pricing. I'm one of the few PPC agencies that does that. Depending on the business that you're in, this may or may not be feasible. But don't let it scare you. A lot of people think like, oh gosh, I know customers will love me if I just get them on the phone, and maybe that's true, but it's just so much easier to have a conversation with a person that already knows what you cost. And this helps improve the efficacy of your campaign, your conversions, your lead quality, and this objection, overcoming objections doesn't always necessarily mean that you're winning out on that. It just means that you're filtering accordingly. Here's another way to overcome objections and then maybe even be transparent is to let people know everything that's involved. Which is my next point, which is being transparent. And then empathize, connect, be human, be normal, be a real person. Ryan Dice at Digital Marketer says there's no such thing as B2B or B2C selling. It's all human to human. Little casual colloquial terms. We're in it to win it. One of my favorite things that we just added that I think is really cute is on our YouTube page, we've got this little line that says, those who can't do teach, those who can do shoot YouTube videos. And again, we've had 2 leads from YouTube directly. And it's referenceable. This is the type of thing that I think people really get a kick out of. So be human, get into the mind of your customer and put that on your landing page. And then test. I didn't really put that on there, but I should. Test. Figure out what you need to do to make it better. Never stop split testing. We're constantly running. My favorite thing to split test is, just the hero. Your hero text, your hero image, your hero CTA, not all at the same time. You're testing one variant. But test things so that you can see what's working, what's not working, making adjustments. Just adding those testimonials that I have right beneath my hero banner improved our conversion rate. I forget by how much, but it was substantial. I think we got like a 10 or 11% lift. I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. These are the must-haves for a successful website when running Google traffic. If you have any other ideas that I missed, drop them in the comments. I read all the comments myself, and I'll respond to you if you have any questions. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you want to hear more. If I get 1,000 subscribers, I get to start going live. I can take live questions. It's really exciting for me. Maybe for you. I don't know. It depends on how much you like hearing me talk. And that's all I've got for you. Thanks so much. I'll catch you on the flippity flop.